Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'll be drafting out a pattern for this top that you can see right on the screen as requested by you guys. So I already have my pattern paper, and the side facing the camera is going to be my center front, while the side facing me is going to be my side front. The first thing I'll do is to take my guideline. So I'm going to rule a straight line of about 1 inch like this. So that's where I'm going to start taking my measurements from, and what I'll do next is to take my zip allowance. So as you can see on the front part of the top, there is a zip there, so I'll take 1 inch for my zip allowance, and then I'll connect the dots into a straight line. The next thing I'll do is to start taking my vertical measurements. So I'll take the distance from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10.5 inches. I'll indicate that, and then I'll rule a straight line across. After doing that, the next point I'll take is my under bust point, which is 13 inches. I'll also place my tape on my guideline. I'll mark 13 inches, and then I'll rule a straight line across. The next point I will take is my waistline, which is 16 inches. And the last point I'll take is going to be my top length, which is 21 inches. I will indicate that also, and I'll rule a straight line across. So I have my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, and then my top length. The next thing I'll do is to take half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. My shoulder measurement is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I'll indicate that with a point, and then from that point I'll take half of my armhole, my round armhole measurement, which is also 16 inches. Half of it is 8 inches. I'll indicate that with a point, and on that line I'll make sure I have 8 inches there, which is what I have on my shoulder line. If it's not 8 inches, if you don't have the same thing you have on your shoulder line, you can go ahead and adjust it. So I'm going to connect both points together into a straight line like this. I will extend the line a little bit for my armhole to sit. On my bust line, I'll take my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll indicate that with a point, and then I'll connect from there to meet the armhole line. On my waist point, I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll indicate that. So I'll connect from my bust point straight to meet my waistline. So ignore the line that I have on my under bust line. I didn't know what I was doing. And on my top length, I'll take the same measurement that I have on my waistline, which is my waist circumference divided by 4. So I'll connect like this. So I connected from my armhole to meet my bust point, from my bust point to meet my waistline and my top length. So I'll go ahead and add my stitching allowance of 1 inch all the way around, and then I'll connect just like you see me doing. On my armhole line, I'll divide this straight line by 2, and I will indicate the middle point. On the middle point, I'll go in by half an inch just like you see me doing. I'll indicate that with a point, and then I'll use my curved ruler to curve out my armhole from the guideline to meet the half an inch and to meet the armhole area. If you don't have a curved ruler, you can go ahead and do this with your free hand. The next thing I'll do is to take my nipple to nipple measurement. So half of my nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches. I'll take that on my bust point, on my UBL, on my waistline, and on the top length, and then I'll connect all the points into a straight line. And for the neckline, I'll take my neck width. I'll take 3 inches for the neck width. I'll indicate that. And on the armhole area, I'll go ahead and take my shoulder slant. I'll come down by 1 inch, and then I'll slant to meet the 3 inches that I just took. So what I'll do now is to slant from my the 3 inches, that is my neck width, to meet my under bust. You know the front of the top is opened, so if you don't want your top to be as opened as what you can see on the thumbnail, come up from your bust under bust line, your UBL, come up by 1 inch. You can see what I just did there. And if you want it to still go up, you can go up by 2 inch. It depends on you. You are to determine how open you want your top to be. So let's assume I want my top to be a bit closed. So I came up by 1 inch from my UBL and I just slanted. But I'm going to take mine down. This is for those of you that want yours to come up. You don't want your chest area to be too opened. So after doing that, you can just go ahead and slant like this. For those of you that want yours to be opened, all you have to do is to slant just like what you see me doing. After doing that, I'll go ahead and I'll cut. So we are done with the front pattern of this top. So I'm going to cut the under bust line separately. So I'm going to divide it by 2 because we are going to be adding a boning to this top. So I'll go ahead and label every part so that when I'm cutting on my fabric, I'll not be confused. So I'll slash through my nipple to nipple point. So the next thing I'll do is to slash and spread the cup. So the top that we are following, it has a gathered on the on breast area. So I'm going to measure my shoulder, and what I have here is almost 5 inches. I'll divide it by 2 and I'll indicate the middle points with I'll indicate the middle points. I'll use my ruler to connect just like this to meet this point on my bust point, and then I'll use my scissors to slash through, but I'll not cut it out completely. That will enable me to do the slash and spread method that I want to do. So I'll go ahead and place my cup on a fresh pattern paper like this, and then I'll spread that middle point. I'll spread it by 3 inches, and then I'll use my pin to hold it down. And yeah, I'll trim out the excess that I have on the down part, and that is all we have to do for the front part of this top. So for the back pattern, I've already marked out my point off camera to save time. So I have my bust point, my under bust point, and my top length. So all the points that I have on this back pattern is the same thing as the front, except that the back is shorter than the front. So my waistline, it stopped at my waistline, and the waistline I took 17 inches. So I'm going to place my shoulder for the front pattern on the cup. I'll place it on the back pattern like this, and I'll indicate because the shoulders has to be the same. So I'll mark it like this, and from that point I'll take my neck depth of 1 inch, and then I'll use my curved ruler to curve out my back neckline. On my bust line, I'll take my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll indicate that. And on my waist line, I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll also indicate that. And I'll connect from my bust point to meet my armhole line like this. On my armhole line, I'll divide what I have on the straight line by 2. And I'll indicate the middle points, and then I'll use my curve rule to curve out my armhole. So I'll connect the point from my bust point to meet my waistline, and then I'll add my 1 inch stitching allowance. I'll connect like this. And the next thing I'll do is to take my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 4 inches. I'll take that on my bust line, on my waistline, and on my top length, and then I'll connect the 3 points with a straight line. After doing that, I'll go ahead and cut. So the same thing I did for the front pattern, I'm going to go ahead and divide this pattern on the under bust line. I'll divide it by 2, and then I'll separate the under bust into 2. So before doing that, I'll go ahead and label my pattern so that I will not be confused. So I have my side back, I have my center back. I'll also divide that into 2 because I'll be adding a boning to this top. So the line that I'm dividing is my nipple to nipple line. That's also taking my dart. So yeah, after doing that, we are done with the pattern drafting of this top. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Please stay tuned for the sewing version of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one.